Hello traders, welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 190. What a nice round number, road to 200. You know what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and most importantly, what we can expect for the upcoming week. You know that I usually don't like throwing forecasts because the market is all about uncertainty, so you have to be flowing with the market. But of course, we're going to practice marking market structure, seeing what happened this week, and of course try to draw some projections for the next week. This week was a very manipulative. We had a bank holiday on Monday, Tuesday opened, it was kind of rough a little bit, then we had CPI, then we had some other news. I am extending my losing streak from last week. I mean, I only trade Euro USD right now and a little bit of US 30, but US 30 has been really volatile due to all the news, and Euro USD is just not giving good setups, right? It actually gives perfect setups, but they always hit stop loss. So again, there are periods like this. You're gonna have a losing streak. Your strategy is gonna stop working for a bit. The key is to just keep striking and trust in the long game. Okay. If you're new to this channel, it's all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I give my best to share either an educational piece of content or a trading setups breakdown video. So make sure you are subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss when a video comes out. And if you already did, let's not waste time and jump into the analysis. Alright, as always, we're gonna get started with the Dixie to have a look what the dollar is doing. But before we do that, it is very important to have a look at the news for next week. We don't have a lot to worry about. I mean, we have a speech on Monday, which is pretty late, so definitely not trading at that time. RBA meeting minutes during Asian sessions, so that could make the Aussie run a little bit. We have a GDP for Chinese. We don't care because we don't trade. Do any of you trade the Chinese yuan? I don't know. CPI for GBP, very important as well. And yeah, nothing that really strikes me. No Euro news, no USD news. So definitely we're probably not going to have any huge manipulation. So this is very good because hopefully we're going to have finally some clean markets that are easy to trade and don't just go to sweep liquidity and stuff, right? So let's have a look at the Dixie. The weekly candle, you can see the last couple of weekly candles, there is no real strength behind. I mean, let's just compare like this nice push up, right? Or this nice push up, and let's compare this push down, right? It always has like wicks on the bottom, inside bar, wick up, wick down. And even this week, I mean, they all close bearish, but they're very weak. So as you know, last week we potentially forecasted that, yeah, the market could be heading towards taking out this weak low. And in fact, it did. Right, took it out and then massively rejected to the upside. So again, it's hard to say right now, are we going to continue down, right? Are we going to break below 101, right, and close below it and continue all the way towards like 99 and the next area of demand, which is right there. But you know that I don't look at supply and demand zones on the left because they're old zones. And again, the market tends to reject from them and then of course continue dropping, right? A very good example is here. The market reacted, broke here, reacted, broke, right? Even here, this little guy reacted, broke, even here, reacted, and then it broke, right? So the more you draw on the left, the more you're going to lose. So again, focus on what is happening right now. Currently, the market is bearish. Dropping on the daily, you can see it even clearly, right? We forecasted it. It broke structure down right there. That was the daily lower high that actually formed on a Monday. But no, that's last week. Yeah, that's last week. So we have lower high, lower low. The market pulls back into the daily lower high. Again, higher time frames will always prevail. And then we just ran to the downside, breaking structure to the downside again. So right now, what we just have to do is adapt our analysis and move our lower high to here. So there is our strong high on the daily. The market is bearish on the daily. And on Friday, we had this nice little rejection as we just kind of came in and took out this low. Okay. So then dropping onto the FOH. Well, the FOH was kind of tricky a little bit because you can see here on Monday, we kind of went in and just boom, massively pushed into the highs. And I'm like, okay, what is happening? Right. And technically this is here, we caused this the breakout structure there. And then the low was right there. So this is where we actually came in and broke structure on Wednesday. So Tuesday was choppy, chop, 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 chop. Wednesday broke. And that is when we expanded to the downside after the news. But again, if we focus on, okay, what is happening right now? We have a breakout structure right here. Okay, so this is a valid breakout structure according to me. And technically right now the 4 hourly is aligning bullish according to me. But again, you know, higher time frames will always prevail. In this case, we had a daily zone right there and the fall value was bullish, but then at the end of the day, the daily took control. So in terms of where we are right now, I would be curious to see, like with this Friday's momentum to the upside, can we take a short-term long towards the daily supply? So I would imagine something like this. And again, it's a little bit early to say because we don't have any sort of demand. I mean, the only demand I can draw is this guy, but I don't think the market is going to pull back all the way down, 100% pullback, and then potentially push up. No, because usually when the market causes the first trend change, it goes with lots of momentum and throws you like a 30% pullback. So if you draw your fib, right, that's 70, but it's overall 30%, right? So I would expect maybe if it's going to pull back, a little bit of a pullback, not even 50%, and then for us to continue going higher. So I am forecasting this very short-term bullishness on the Dixie. I mean, if the 50-minute pulls back a little bit, if it pulls back and then if it aligns bullish and starts making bullish structure, I would be curious to take a long, okay, towards this daily supply. And of course, if it shifts down, I will be shorting because the daily bias is bearish. And again, I look a little bit more on the macro side of things right now in the weekly outlooks. So that's my outlook on the DXY. This is the structure. It's not perfect. We kind of massively went down, then we massively went up, which is a very nice V shape. The most recent momentum is bullish. The most recent break of structure is also bullish. So again, longs according to me are high probability. But then again, just judging the overall sentiment of the DXY, it's bearish. So if you get any bearish alignment, then you can go short. But I would expect the fall will form at least one more high like this before maybe it decides to change, make a trend change and continue going down. So this is kind of a really long-term forecast. Probably it won't happen, but this is how I think of it. So DXY, short-term bullish bias. Let's see how it resonates with the other pairs. Euro USD is a phenomenal example of why you should not be looking on the left, right? Because again, you remember quite a couple of weekly outlooks, we kept like drawing all of these zones right there. And there was this one, for example, and we said, all right, the market failed from this, it failed from this, it failed from this, it failed from all the things, but it looks like this zone is respecting, okay? But ignore the left and zoom in. What happened right here? We had a break of structure. What caused the break of structure? It was this demand zone. So this is the trend. We are currently bullish. Doesn't matter what is on the left, we're bullish. And again, you can see the market pullback, higher low formation, held above the strong low on the weekly time frame. And just this week, we took out the week high on the weekly, right? So right now we have to adapt a little bit. Pretty much the weekly higher low is this. You can even draw a weekly demand if you wish, although I don't draw any demand zones on the weekly, but we are bullish. So what happens after we take out a major high? We initiate a pullback. So again, as I said, Dixie took out a major low. It can turn a little bit bullish. Euro took a major high. It can turn a little bit bearish. However, again, as you can see, similar to the Dixie, the daily time frame is overall bullish, and it was bullish all the time. We broke structure here, higher low, higher high. No, this is where we broke. So this is the higher high. We pull back into the higher low. So that was the higher low. It held and we made a new break of structure. So overall, bullish bias on EU. And currently this is our daily demand. Then dropping onto the 4H. Well, again, it's going to have this short-term reversal. In fact, it definitely has it. Right there is broke structure up, then broke down. It's currently rejecting. No, it actually took it out. So again, what I expect on EU is exactly the same as the Dixie. A very brief pullback. I don't even think it's going to pull back all the way up towards the range. If it does, cool, but I would expect a very brief pullback and then for us to make at least one more lower low. Because this is just the first trend change, right? And if you also study Elliott wave, I think the more I see it, the more I actually trust in it, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually even here 6, 7. Okay, so I'm not sure if I draw them correctly. Maybe you have not, right? But right now we can expect this kind of A, B, C to the downside. So again, we have only one push. There is going to be a pullback and potentially we can expect one more drop. So again, the focus is on Monday or the first days of the week, pretty much Monday and Tuesday, to potentially try to catch a short. So let's see. I mean, the 50-minute is low right now. It's also bullish. I would really love to see some sort of a pullback, right? Again, I don't want to draw a level or a zone because I mean, I'm going to take it big like this whole buy to sell. Okay, so if it pulls back all the way up, great. But again, as I said, when you have the first trend change, the pullback you're going to get is around 30, maybe a little bit more than 30, if you're lucky 50. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for a pullback anywhere within this region. And if it offers a short, then I'm going to be looking for a short, just judging by this short-term sentiment that is bearish. And also we took out a major high on the left, so that can act as further confidence. So that is my outlook on EU. Very simple, very nice. Let me quickly show you my losses this week, because last week I skipped, because last week I took quite a few losses. And again, man, this week I just jump on and just the losing streak continues. I mean, April is really treating me bad. Where is it? Okay, there it is. So let's see. So that is on Tuesday. So on Monday I didn't trade. Why? Because it was bank holiday. Tuesday, I was looking to take a long, but somehow, yeah, there was a long right there, but it didn't provide an entry. So, I mean, yeah, the set and forget approach, as I taught you recently, worked out great on this day, but I was looking for my 1 minute precision entries, right? Push, pullback, higher low, higher high, reached the high, and I think we took out some sort of liquidity on the left, and then we aligned bearish. So we made the TC down, and I thought, okay, well, we're due to a pullback, right? The market pulls back, and again, New York session, I usually don't trade in New York, but again, I was on the chart, so I said, okay, why not? So yeah, the market pulls back into supply, and on the 1 minute, I took, spread my risk in half, took a swing, and I took a TC entry, a precision entry, right? So my swing was taken like this, 7.8 pip stop loss, and as I saw the market actually rejecting from this level and showing me the confirmation that it's holding, I took another trade from here with a 4 pip stop loss, gave a reaction, hit stop loss, came in, took out the high, right? And then it actually ended up, I mean, it ended up going down as I expected, like to take out this high. But yeah, so pretty much I have been a victim of liquidity grabs like this week. I know quite a couple of my trades. Well, I'm going to show you in my next trade. But yeah, I mean, this to me looked like a very strong high. Grab liquidity, formed a trend change. So why did it came in to hunt it again at 4 o'clock? This is again when manipulation happens. It is what it is. Valid loss, took it on to the next, right? So that's my Tuesday trade. Wednesday, I think Wednesday was a break even. I mean, yeah, it's just me and the community. We are so tired of EU that we're actually looking right now to test some other pairs. We're trading US 30, NASDAQ, Gold and stuff like this because EU is just awful. Similar example, my biggest mistake this week is actually getting setups against the trend. I mean, you saw me here take a short in the long market, and you see me here taking a short in the long market again. But once again, Asian range, manipulated above, formed the trend change to the downside, right? I hated that it actually came on to take out the Asian low, which immediately decreased my probability of success, because as it takes out the buy side liquidity, it heads for the sell side, it took it, and then of course it's gonna head to the other side. I really spot this pattern a lot nowadays, right? It doesn't respect structure, but it just takes liquidity from one side to another. And also this one was the CPI day, so why did I trade? I don't know, right? Came into supply and gave me the entry, took the trades, and guess what? It pushed, it failed, and took me out at break even. And then it kind of came in. I'm not sure if it would have taken me my TP, like depends on spread. But again, I mean, you don't go to 2.7R and then leave your trade open and potentially to take a stop loss. So going from almost 3R to stop loss, you don't do this, right? I don't do this. So again, break-even trade. And then, yeah, just continued to chop around, and then CPI came in and just boop, pop to the upside. So losing streak continues, no wins. Thursday, another one, damn it. Where is it? Yeah, so again, this one, in the morning, I was looking for longs, but again, the market just chopped around, swept liquidity, and just exploded. It didn't give you a chance to enter. Of course, if you're entering like on the liquidity grabs, that's fine. I don't do this. I wait for structure to align, and by the time structure aligned, it just pushed up. Then I get a new higher high, higher low, higher high. The market pulls back into the higher high, and of course, this one was dead time. I mean, 12:30. This is lunchtime. This is when you do not trade, but I still took the trade because it took my plan. It's pulled back, and because I knew that we're trading in the choppy time, I took it with a big stop loss. So although I got my TC entry right there, I placed my stop loss below just to be safe, because I know at 12 o'clock the market tends to chop, and then around 1:30 it starts going. But guess what? I mean, 1:30 right there, it continued to chop. I thought, okay, now it's gonna go, and the bastard came on, stopped me out, and then it rushed. So I am a pure victim of liquidity this week, but again, I just follow my setups, and there are weeks when it's gonna work like this. Took the liquidity, right, and then it actually, to me, it formed a 50-minute trend change, and then it formed it to the upside, but it did not give me any more entry. and it expanded. And I mean, it is what it is. Laugh at me. I got victim of liquidity this week quite a lot, but it's fine because next week I am freaking gonna smash the market. Okay, so that's my performance this week, guys. One break even, 2 losses, and from last week I had quite a few. So definitely April I'm still running on a losing streak, but again, as I always say, one trade is all you need to get back to break even, and then one trade is gonna bring it all back. So focus on the long term, don't change your strategy, and let's jump on to the next pair. Amazing bullishness kicking in on Euro Yen. Again, as we have been forecasting for quite a while, this market is bullish on the weekly. There is the demand. We draw it every single week, right? And potentially we're headed towards the week high, which is right there to potentially cause a weekly break of structure. We came in to revisit this area quite a few times, but again, after this morning star formation here on the weekly, right? We had an inside bar last week, and again, as I told you, well, what makes sense to break? Is it the high? Is it the low? Well, it's the high, and we just smashed through it. Okay, so absolutely bullish on the week, absolutely bullish on the day. Did we pull back 50%? Not really, right? Almost came close to it. We have a new daily break. We have a new demand. And yes, the market has been pushing for quite a while. I mean, that is 6 days of continuous push, right? So we're taking lots of highs right there on the left. So my question is, are we going to pull back one more time before we take out the high? So if we do, again, full confidence on Euro JPY, it definitely looks bearish on all time frames. And again, as you can see, even the 4H time frame, trading a JPY pair seems like the good choice. So where I potentially spot I struggle with is trading the wrong pairs at specific times, right? So right now you can see this one is massively moving. Euro USD was heavily manipulated, and US 30 did not move much. Like Nasdaq, US 30 indices did not move much, right? While JPY pairs right now are just rolling. I mean, look, it forms demand right there. Oops, pulls back, boom, high highs. So again, this is a skill I still have to yet to master, like being a little bit more. But again, I'm also a huge fan of and believer of one pair, one trade, one session. So if I just stick to my pair long term, I'm gonna win. So why would I trade another 10 pairs? Okay. Fully broke structure right there. We're definitely bullish. The valid higher low is right here. Okay, so you can of course choose how you draw the higher low. You can draw it like this and then utilize this lows as liquidity, but you can also consider this because it's a nice bearish base candle to potentially form as demand. The range, however, as it forms the high, you're gonna take it from here to the low to the high, wait for 50%, and then potentially engage in a trade. So yeah, I mean, Euro Yen is bullish. Euro USD was bearish. So again, correlation is not great, and we're potentially gonna see that USD Yen is maybe really bullish, which is why we're having all of these JPY expansions. But again, this is how I look at the market right now. That is my current range. The high hasn't formed. Wait for at least one bearish candle to print before you draw your PD range, right? But then eventually I would like to see a little pullback and for the market to continue higher, okay? And keep in mind, we're pretty high on the daily. I mean, if the daily forms a high, we can expect even a daily pullback towards the 50%. So again, keep following the 4-hourly time frame until you're wrong. Because if you're wrong on the 4H, then if you have a 4-hourly trend change, then that means that the daily is initiating a pullback, right? So if you have this, you can take a couple of shorts. As the daily finishes the pullback, the 4-hourly is going to align and then it's going to push with the daily. And that is pretty much when you use your daily as a major time frame and your 4-hourly as your minor time frame. But pretty much I do one step lower. I use the 4-hourly as my major and 50-minute as minor. So currently, this is my low, that's my high. Let's see how the market is going to play between this low and potentially when it forms the high, and if we can catch any longs. Aussie dollar has been also extremely choppy for us because we also trade Aussie dollar in the team, and yeah, you pretty much can see it from the weekly candles. I mean, it's been 4 weeks of no clear direction. I mean, it's cooking for something, it's waiting for something. As we saw this week, we have RBA meeting minutes. Is this gonna cause anything? I don't know, right? But we can see that there is no clear direction on the weekly. Sure, we broke structure down. The weekly is bearish right now, but what is it doing inside this range for almost a month right now? Okay, dropping onto the day. I mean, yeah, this one is just tough. Here, we broke up, then we broke down, then broke up. So you can see it's just sweeping the highs and sweeping the lows. There is no clear direction. And when the market gets like this, that is when your strategy usually tends to stop working because the market is not trending, right? You have to acknowledge, okay, does my strategy work in trending markets or consolidating? Where my works in trending, of course. So if it's consolidating, it's pretty much gonna constantly take liquidity up and down, up and down, up and down. You're gonna be stuck in a range. Okay, so Technically right now you can definitely acknowledge this, because again I always count wicks as breaks. Well, yeah, sure, this is a breakup, and we can say that the daily is currently bullish. But acknowledging how the market is going right now, you can say, okay, well, it could be a liquidity gap, it could be headed for the lows as well. Okay, so the focus is gonna go on the FOH, which is tricky. I mean, it's not very tricky. This is the last break and the last valid range. We don't have anything on top. We have this wick right there, but this does not count. So that's the higher low. Okay, so currently the market is tapping into a higher low demand, right? And we have this daily demand on the bottom. But in this case, I'm going to ignore the daily because the daily is chopping, right? So let's see how it's going to respond from here. It's still bullish on the FOH. So technically you can be taking longs. So on Monday, you can jump in right there. You can wait for your 50-minute setup and you can take a long, because the bias on the FOH is still long. And as long as you're not wrong on the FOH, right? As long as you're bullish on the FOH, well, we take longs, okay? But what I would think could happen if we actually shift that sentiment to the downside, right? We can have a little reaction and then maybe the market is gonna break, okay? Or we're just gonna maybe start the day bearish and then expand into the high. So those are my two projections. Something completely different could happen, but again, I cannot tell from Saturday. This is why I always say, wait for Monday to play out, wait for Asia, wait for Frankfurt, see the vibe of the market, and then potentially go play with it, okay? So this is Aussie. Tricky on the weekly, tricky on the daily, sweeping the highs, sweeping the lows, swept the highs again. So let's see where it's going to go next. 4-hour time frame is still bullish. So this is my analysis right now. I'm going to be really careful and mindful that we are a little bit choppy on AU. So be careful. And then we go to the JPY, right? AJ broke structure to the downside, definitely bearish on the weekly. We can draw a little bit of a supply on the weekly. It is pulling back towards, yeah, definitely above 50% on the weekly, which is a good area to start shorting, but daily is bullish, right? So the daily aligned right here, pulls back, higher low. Hey, did you take the high? Yeah, I think you did. So the high on this one is 91.071. Yeah, well, we took it out with a couple of pips, so definitely this is a higher high to me, and then this technically becomes our daily higher low. So again, you can see daily is bullish, but then again, what I really want to focus on is the FOH, because I know that on the weekly time frame, we're above 50%. So anytime we can get short. So currently, this is where we came in, we broke it, but where is our 4-hourly range? So it's right here. So this is where we broke. Yeah, this is where we broke. So technically, how do I take my low? This one is a tricky one. So either take it from here or from here. If I'm extremely objective. Okay, this one is giving me a tough time because we have like these breaks, all of these breaks. Well, let's just take it conservatively right there. Okay, and then technically, I'm just gonna draw this as our demand zone. So that is the Aussie JPY right now. It shifted bullish, and then you get higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. You can see it's trending up very nicely. It came in and took out this massive daily high. Okay, so what is the next move? What is likely to happen next? Well, again, we can either reverse, but as long as the 4-hourly is bullish, well, we cannot really take a short. So if we pull back right here, you can technically start taking longs, right? Another scenario would be to actually make a new 4-hourly higher high and then align bearish. Okay, and then start taking the shorts, or we can just continue pushing higher. So again, to me right now, exactly this positioning on AJ does not give me too much confidence, right? It's roughly around the 50%, right? You can see just kissed the 50%. It dipped below and it gave a reaction. So if the 50-minute really starts to trend up, I could be interested to take a long and target the high. But usually just knowing the positioning of price right now, it's not ideal. It's in the middle. It doesn't have like a 4-hourly demand zone. And yeah, so again, both USDs are a little bit tricky right now. Like, I mean, AU is still bullish, tapping inside this, massively inside this bearish range, right? Inside this bullish range, sorry. While this one is a little bit on top, but it's also still bullish. So they are both technically bullish, okay? So flow with it. Let's see how Monday opens, and I'm pretty much gonna flow with the 50-minute. And again, your best bet is to go long because the bias is longs right now. On the weekly time frame, NZD/USD looks like it's ready to roll to the downside, because if you remember recently we had a breakup right there, then we had a breakdown. Weekly time frame turned bearish. We pulled back way above the 50%. We threw a massive rejection candle right there, right? And right now we're having a nice kind of bearish candle, because I really like the wick on top. There was lots of rejection coming in, and we also closed bearish. So this gives me a lot of signals that shorts could be kicking in. Daily time frame, it broke structure here. The higher low was right there. We came in and made a daily break of structure, actually a trend change. That was the daily supply. We came in and we came out massively, right? So again, the next area to be taken out is this daily lower low. And yeah, I mean, getting inside this trade is tricky if you don't like stay on the daily and then know, okay, so right now we're massively right there, so you can take a trade, right? So there was some sort of news on Friday that really shook the market. But if you have a look at this guy, it did not break here. So that was our hourly. So exactly the same price action as the Aussie, but this one broke, right? So this one broke. You can see Aussie is currently right there while NZD broke, right? So this is why I can presume that the Aussie might also break. So what can we do on this one? Quite a couple of things could happen. We can initiate a little pullback and take a short. Do not wait for a 50% pullback. Very unlikely you're gonna get it because this is the first massive push that caused the trend change. Usually little pullback, it's gonna go. Second thing could happen is we just open and break the low. So then of course we have to see, okay, what is gonna happen next? Pretty much that's it. Okay, you either get a pullback and take a good short, or it either just drops to the downside, takes out this daily low, and then from there you're just gonna wait for a new structure to form. Okay, you're probably gonna get a pullback. So that's NZD/USD, as simple as that. There is no immediate setup. You have to wait a little bit for the market to correct in order to take a short, right? Or if it's just gonna drop to the downside, then of course we're gonna wait and see what's gonna happen. That's why let's make sure to tune in on Tuesday to see what is happening. Let's have a look at NJ. Yeah, NJ is also bearish on the weekly. It pulled back. It's actually very nicely already tapping into weekly supply for 3 weeks. So is it ready to go short? Daily time frame is still kind of bullish. I mean, it broke structure there, and then it broke structure up right here. Our high, our low. It failed to take out the high. Tricky on the daily, but then again, I mostly care about the FOH. So FOH kind of chop, came in, took the liquidity, broke down. But then, yeah, man, this is so broke down here. Trend change up. Demand, higher low, higher high. Yeah, okay, so we got it. There's the last big demand, higher low, right? And that's our higher low range. So still bullish. I mean, you can see the JPYs are still bullish, most of them. So what could happen on this one? Well, we can reverse, we can break it and then look for a short, or we can take a long. Okay, so technically it's still long, but if the NZD, overall the sentiment of the New Zealand dollar goes down, well, this one is eventually gonna follow down. Okay, or because the JPY, which we're gonna see just right now, is very bullish, then this one might start consolidate. Because if UJ is bullish and NJ is bearish, then this one chops around, right? In order for a JPY pair to move, both USD JPY and NZD USD, for example, have to be moving in the same direction, which is not always the case. Okay, so that's my analysis. This is it. Okay, so technically you are long bias. We should be looking for longs, but again, just thinking also a little bit logical and looking at NU, the sentiment is bearish, so I can expect also for it to break down. So again, flow with the market. Let's see if you can get any 50-minute shorts. That would be great, but again, it's not a very high probability because we're tapping into massive demand, so there could be a lot of buys coming in. So if you can take a long, I mean, that's your best bet on this case, but NU is bearish. And here is why all the JPYs are bullish right now. So again, just to analyze, we had a break of structure down here in the weekly supply. It came in and actually held, and we reacted from it, but right now it looks like we're coming back up. So are we coming back up to break the high, or are we just coming back up to take some liquidity and continue dropping to the downside? We don't know. Daily time frame, well, again, as you know, the daily is bullish. We broke down here, we broke up there, higher low was formed, we broke up here again, and there is another higher low. The market already pulled back below 50%, and it's currently heading towards making a new higher high. So as you can see, the most recent bias right now on the UJ is bullish, and this is why potentially all the JPYs are also bullish. Quality time frame is, yeah, I mean, again, similar. Here we had like a couple of pushes to the upside, and we have this A, B, C to the downside, and then the market just aligns bullish. So the most recent alignment is here. We had like a break of structure up, and then we had like a break of structure down. So if you could have taken a short here, great. You had a nice drop, but then the market just chopped around and it broke up. So technically right now, this is the demand. This is our strong low. Couple of things could happen. We can either head to take out this daily high at first, and then maybe start initiating like a pullback. If you first have a pullback, it doesn't have to be 50%, then look for the longs. That's it. Okay, so I wouldn't really expect the market to come all the way down. Definitely could happen, but I don't expect it. Why? Because this is the first trend change, and when the market creates that first trend change, massive momentum, it pulls back around 30%. So that's my outlook on UJ. Keeping it very simple, we either push up and then look for a pullback, we either pull back and look for a long. That's it. I don't think this one is going to happen. So there are my two scenarios. Let's see how Monday opens and how we can flow with it. But overall, UJ is bullish, which is why all the JPY pairs are potentially going to also kind of either go up or consolidate, because their USD pairs are bearish. So let's see. Let's have a quick look at the UCAT. Looks like it keeps rolling to the downside. So as we forecasted quite a couple of weeks ago, this is actually our break of structure right here. And then technically I defined this to be our major high low on the weekly. The market pushed it, pulled back. It almost came inside this demand zone, which is a nice demand zone, but it did not tap it. It tried to push, it failed. It came back again. It tried to push, it failed. So to me right now, this should be liquidity. And this should be liquidity technically. Okay, so I don't like to use the word should or have to take this or has to go there, but I can project this is where we're going. Because again, the market did not have enough power to cause this break of the high after this pullback and after this pullback. So potentially we're gonna came in, grab them because they're weak, and then maybe then initiate a push up. Daily time frame absolutely bearish. We broke structure down, push. We're at a lower low right now. And again, you can look on the left if you wish, draw this demand, the market is going to react, but then it's going to break it. Because why? Because we're bearish right now. So lower low, and 4-hourly time frame is absolutely bearish as well. So it shifted bearish here, lower low, lower high, down and down and down and down and down. And the last break is here, and your last 4-hourly lower high is there. So if you want to draw a range, that's your range. And you're already above 50%. You don't really have a zone, because that's your only zone you can take. And yeah, pretty much that's it on UCAT. If you can take a short, go for it. We're above 50%, so I mean, if you have like a 50-minute strategy or something, trading without the 4-hourly zone, amazing, okay? But yeah, what I suspect could happen, we can either pull back a little bit more and then take a short, or we can just like chop around and just start dropping down again. So the bias is definitely short. I don't see it going long right now, but absolutely could have. I mean, don't get me wrong, it could just open, it could just massively blow through the roof. I can expect everything from the market, but daily is bearish. It made a lower low. Right now it's pulling back to make a lower high. If we draw the PD range on the daily, you can see 50% on the daily is around like this supply zone. So it is possible we pull back all the way up right there. It is possible we even break the 4-hourly supply. Let's see, okay? But again, with this massive momentum down, I don't expect for us to get big of a pullback. So if you manage to get a short on UCAT right now on market open, if it maybe starts a little bit bullish, and then you get a nice 15-minute alignment and a nice 15-minute downtrend, then that is the time to strike. So bearish bias on UCAT. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's have a look what the GBPs are doing, starting from GU. So we just broke this weekly high right there last week, and this week we came on and took out the previous weekly high, and then we rejected. So again, where is price right now in terms of the weekly, where it's at a higher high? Okay, so if this was low, again, you can see the market just sweeping the highs. It came in, swept out this high, then it came down, it swept out this low, then it came up and swept out the recent high. So it's just going from a high to low, from high to low. And this is pretty much usually how it operates when it chops, right? But when it trends, it usually is going to respect the lower highs, right? So this is why I kept saying, right, well, this was a break of structure to me. I drew demand and I was looking for longs. And again, it kind of tried to give a couple of longs. It couldn't, took the liquidity. But then again, I aligned shorts, right? And we can say again, comes in, takes out the buy side. So again, this is just consolidating market. But again, I'm going to align with it right now. That's my demand. Weekly time frame, according to me, is bullish right now. Of course, it could be swept liquidity. And right now we can start potentially pushing to the downside. Daily time frame is still bullish. This is the last break of structure on the daily. This is the last demand zone. It's coming in very violently inside this demand. So let's see if it's going to hold. 4-hourly time frame is probably bearish. Yep, it actually made a very quick shift right there. Just broke up and then it just came in and broke down. Right, so that is a very nice supply because it caused a massive trend change. right? And yes, so we are technically bearish right now. We're tapping inside daily demand. So this reminds me of another pair. Was it Aussie? No. Yeah, it was Aussie. Like, this is the daily demand on the Aussie, right? And we're currently kind of technically a little bit bearish on the recent time frame. So let's see. I mean, I am bearish on GU right now. After sweeping this massive liquidity high, we can start expecting also like a bigger weekly pullback towards all of these areas. So let's see. I don't want to be calling long-term shorts, but again, the 4-hour time frame is bearish right now. So if you get like a pullback once again, right, and holds, then we can take a short. There is a really good kind of invisible supply level right there. They call it the buy to sell wicks, right? So you can even trade from this little region right there. But this is how I look at it. Okay, be mindful, we're tapping inside daily demand, and it can give us a reaction. But again, if we just listen at weekly, liquidity being taken, daily like being a little bit high right now, and then 4-hourly time frame shifting bearish, we can maybe say, okay, well, we could potentially be turning bearish. But of course, it could be the market makes a lower high, lower low, holds from daily demand, causes a 4-hourly trend change, and then goes up. That is the second scenario. So let's see. But again, short term, first days of the week, I would expect potentially a short. So if the market opens bullish, then that is good because it's going to be creating the weekly high. Then if it drops, you can get a nice trade and even call it a week. So let's see if we can catch any shorts. And if, of course, this analysis will make any sense as we open on Monday. GJ, yeah, I mean, with the bullishness of UJ, we're just having bullishness here as well. This one is still kind of bullish on the weekly time frame from here, and it's currently kind of traveling to the upside. Daily time frame is also bullish. There's our last break. There's our last demand. And yeah, we're at a higher high. So can we expect a little pullback? Of course, dropping onto the 4H. What's the 4-hourly doing? Yeah, it actually caused a break here and then a breakdown there. That's a little bit of a tricky range, right? But it's actually bearish right now. And this is the low, and the low almost got taken. So this is how I look at GJ right now. Technically, to me, it's bearish right now. It came in, reacted, tried to push, failed. It came in, so there is lots of liquidity resting above this high. So if it opens bullish and comes in towards here, you can definitely look to take a short. But don't forget that the JPY bias is bullish. So this can also rocket to the upside. So this is how I look at it right now. It's already probably trying to give a couple of shorts. Yeah, aligned bearish right there, short right here, tried to push, came in again, aligned, so short even from here. But I would give it some time. Because technically this high failed to cause a major break. It formed equals, so it's technically weak. So if we come in, take out this high, and if we get a 50-minute alignment, it could be a good short opportunity. Okay, but also keep in mind, we're bullish on the overall sentiment of the JPY, so it can also go long. So that's my setup on GJ. Bearish bias right now. Let's see how Monday opens and what's gonna happen. And again, remember, flow with the markets. Don't marry a bias. Let's have a look at Goldie. So weekly time frame, we are definitely bullish, and again, you can see we're having this overall all-time high. Is it all-time? Yeah, it's all-time high. So are we headed for all-time highs? Definitely possible. Right now, we are a little bit higher in terms of the weekly time frame, in terms of the daily. So we have this massive pullback, we have this massive push right now. So we're throwing like wicks to the top. And yeah, as you can see, the daily, oh, I still keep my analysis right there. So let's remove it. Yeah, played out nice last week. I'm starting to monitor gold a little bit because I see it move nicely as well. So broke the daily pullback, daily higher low, and right now it broke up and made the daily higher high. And again, this is the last daily higher low, which we're tapping inside right now. But as you can see, like we could have a very recent change of sentiment on the Dixie, as it took out this massive low right there, formed a weekly lower low. If we start correcting higher a little bit, then it can cause all the other pairs to go bearish. So let's see, okay? In terms of the daily, like turns into a strong daily high. Again, make sure to mark them out, right? So this is a strong daily low, not high. Dropping on the 4H, and you can see similar to all the other pairs, we came in, we took the high, and then we came in and we took the low. So technically right now on the 4H, it's bearish, but on the daily, it's bullish. So who is gonna prevail? Well, I don't know. So again, what I would expect would happen if I just listen to the 4-hourly time frame is a little pullback, right? Maybe to fill in this imbalance right there and tap inside these wicks, right? And for us to then have a new lower low. So then is it gonna hold? I don't know. I don't want to forecast that far, right? But I would expect to have a little reaction pullback. So if you can manage to catch a short from here, that would be great. And then targeting this low, okay? The next thing will be to just drop, right? To just drop and then see what is gonna happen. Is it gonna hold or is it gonna break the daily low? And if it breaks the daily low, then we can say, all right, maybe we can initiate a deeper pullback in terms of the weekly and in terms of the daily. So that's gold. That's how I look at it right now. Very simple. Broke structure on the 4H. This is the high. That's the low. Let's see what it's gonna do. I am personally short bias, especially early this week. If it creates like a slight pullback to the upside to create that weekly high, I will be looking to short, then potentially targeting this low. And after this, of course, it's all about adapting. We cannot forecast that far in time. This is why always focus on what is happening right now. So that's gold. Let me know, guys, in the comments. Do you think gold is gonna go bearish, or it's gonna respect the level, or eventually push up? Let me know your outlooks, because I know a lot of you love trading gold and are masters at it. All right, let's have a look at the indices. So US30 continues with this overall bullish weekly streak right there. And again, if you actually look at it, I mean, this is the low, this is the high, this is where we broke on the weekly. So weekly time frame is bullish overall, and it also pulled back towards 50%. So I mean, the overall bias on US30 is actually bullish if we are extremely objective. But a lot of us think that we're gonna have another drop, right? And a lot of us think that the stock market should be dropping again. Is this gonna happen? Nobody knows, right? So this is technically not really a weekly high, because the weekly low is here, and this is not really a weekly high. So I'm not sure why I have actually marked this one this way. It's wrong. It's probably a daily zone, but again, also on the daily, you can see we chopped around a little bit right there, and we eventually ended up breaking this high. But even from here, we had a push, a pullback, higher low, and then higher high. So you can see the overall bias right now is absolutely bullish. This is the last daily zone, and this is our last daily low, right? We pushed up, we had a little pullback on Friday, but the 4-hourly time frame is extremely tough. This is why I don't trade right now, this one. So chop around, and then yeah, we started pushing, but it broke up, it broke down, and it broke up again, then it broke down again. It's just crazy, right? So it kind of broke up, then to me it broke down, and then again it broke up, right? Then here it again broke up, and right now technically broke down. I'm not sure if it's valid, but yeah, it looks like it's valid. It just broke up and broke down. So I said I'm not gonna trade indices last week because of CPI, because of like all the uncertainty, and that's fine, because it pretty much did not provide also a lot of setups. And even right now, it's still tricky. I mean, it's trending up, but it's trending up in a very, I don't like it, right? So currently, technically, it's a little bit bearish. I mean, this is a very nice supply. If you manage to get a nice 15-minute short from here, that would be great. But again, just listen to the overall sentiment. It's longs still. So the trend is long. So again, don't try to be like me and then to catch like every short, because usually when the market, the same mistake I did on EU, right? It's going up, but it's going to give you 1 or 2 shorts just for you to become liquidity, and then it's going to continue in the overall direction. So again, on US30, the overall direction is longs, right? So you better wait for longs, not for shorts. But again, this is the current supply. It's probably also responding from this demand right there that caused the overall break, right? That's the one that caused the break, right? That these wicks reacted, and as you can see, it's right now kind of gave you an alignment actually, right? It broke up here, pulls back, higher low, boom, there's your long, right? So that's the high probability trade. So again, focus on the longs, focus on what the market is actually, where the market is actually going, and don't try to go against the trend, okay? But currently, I don't really see a great setup on US30, so I'm going to be giving it more time. In terms of NASDAQ, it's ranging, okay? So let's not complicate it. It's ranging, right? So if you just draw this, range, okay? So not touching it. It's cooking for something, because again, you have a break of structure down, break of structure up, break of structure down, break of structure up. It's not high probability markets. And even if I start right now doing like break up, down, down, up, down, right, up, it's just all over the place. So again, NASDAQ, according to me right now, not very good pair to be traded. But again, we broke the low, we broke the high. What caused the break of this high? Well, we just kind of wicked it up. So but it's not clear. Okay, it's not clear. If you find any intraday setups on the 50-minute, because I know a lot of you just trade intraday, like manipulate the high, go against, manipulate the low, go against, that's fine, basing it on liquidity. it usually works. I mean, it's a great trading strategy. I was observing this for a while. Like 1530 comes in, takes the high, then boom, right? If you trade this way, absolutely perfect. But if you're trading in a trending way, looking for trending markets, not a good instrument to be looking at. So again, be careful. I'm not even gonna break it down right now, because why? Well, as I told you, we are in a range. So unless we start exiting this range and starting to get something cleaner, I am definitely not looking at it as much. S&P the same, right? S&P is a little bit more to the upside, but again, kind of it takes the high, it takes the low, and then takes the high again. Like last thing we did is we take out this high, so we're technically bullish. We pulled back, and similar to US30, we broke the low on 15, we broke the high, we pull back, higher low, and then we're pushing up, right? But what happens before? We have all this range, manipulated up, right? And then it went down. So this is how it works right now. It's lots of liquidity. And usually, yeah, the setups I want to be looking at are like, again, yes, aligned bullish, pullback, higher low. Those are the setups I like to take with the trend, okay? But we don't get them very often right now. So if I look at it on the weekly, the weekly time frame on S&P is still bearish, all right? And this is the weekly high. And if we transfer just on the Fear and Greed Index, we're currently like, again, tapping into extreme greed. And on the timeline, we're back again around the 70 score. So as we start tapping 75 and 70, we can start expecting a drop. Okay, so transferring this on the charts, I would expect for the market to take out this high as liquidity and then start dropping. Why this high? Because this high failed to cause anything to the downside, right? It did not do much. It just stopped in the middle, and right now we're pulling back up. So if we tap this high of 42, around 42 is a very key level. 42, tap inside, break it, then we can start expecting a pullback. So until it reaches the zone, if we can catch any longs, amazing. If not, then just wait for it. Personally, I'm not trading S&P right now, so I'm not really looking to trade it, but this is how I look at it. And then according to me, I mean, US30 makes the most sense in terms of price action because it's overall going up. Nasdaq is a range, S&P is also going up, but they're not clean. Okay, just sweeping the lows, sweeping the highs. If you trade sweeps, amazing. So that's the indices. Okay, not looking at them too much right now. Crypto's trending up nicely right now. If you're invested, absolutely amazing. I mean, it's popping up almost to 32K. Is it a short-term uptrend, or is it the start of a new massive rally? I don't know. But yeah, again, this is your overall kind of a massive base demand in terms of the weekly. Forward time frame is it usually chops around and then it expands. This is how usually crypto works. I get asked a lot, like, how do I trade crypto? How do I trade crypto? I don't trade crypto, so I can't really give you a lesson on this, right? This is, I think, an investment instrument. You want to buy this one and you want to hold it, right? You don't want to really trade it. If you want to trade it again, like intraday on the 15-minute, but again, you're going to get swept big time. So don't try to trade an instrument you don't understand how it works, okay? So I'm not looking at it as much, so I'm probably going to remove it because I, again, don't trade it, and I just look at it in terms of macro. And yes, it's right now going bullish. So again, if you want to invest in it, any dip is a potential buying opportunity because then every dip recovers as we're in a bullish market. So if you wish to start stacking up on some crypto, very good. But personally, I'm not touching it. So this is how I want to wrap it up, guys. Let me know what is your favorite pair. What is your favorite instrument going into next week? What are you currently trading? How is your performance so far in April? I am personally not doing really good, but again, there is still a lot of time in April. Let me know how you go. And yes, wishing you a lovely weekend if you're watching this during the weekend, and I wish you an extremely crushing week ahead of you. Make sure to go back, rewatch the educational video series, and I look forward to talking to you on my next video.